Now inertia of motion. As I have stated, in an inertia of rest, that it is a property or it is a tendency of an object to remain at rest. Similarly, inertia of motion means an object wants to remain in the state of motion, and that tendency to oppose to come into the state of rest is called inertia of motion. For example, you are sitting in a bus and bus is in motion. So along with the bus you are in motion, and suddenly the brakes are applied. Your body doesn't want to stop. The lower portion of your body, that is your feet, which are in contact with the bus, it comes to rest automatically because it is directly attached to it. But the upper portion of your body opposes it and you get a jerk in the forward direction. It shows that your body wanted to remain in motion. It wanted to move forward. And that is what inertia of motion. So inertia of motion is the tendency of an object to remain in the state of motion, and it always opposes to come into the state of rest because of this inertia of motion. Similarly, inertia of direction, that is the object wants to remain in the same direction always. It is definitely applicable when the object is in motion. So if an object is moving in a straight direction, it wants to remain in the straight direction. If it is taking a curve, you must have observed when you are sitting in a bus and bus going suddenly, bus is moving suddenly, and there is a sharp turn, your body automatically comes from just bend towards the opposite side. This is because your body wants to remain in the same state of rest, but because of inertia of direction, it opposes that change and it bends towards the opposite direction, or it moves towards the opposite direction. So this is inertia of direction. So what we have discussed today: inertia of rest, inertia of motion, and inertia of direction. Linear momentum. The next topic is linear momentum. The momentum which is represented by letter P. I am just telling you its formula first and then I come to the definition. Linear momentum is product of mass of an object and its velocity. So that is the definition. Linear momentum of an object is a product of its mass and its velocity. So product of mass and velocity of an object is called its linear momentum. Velocity is a vector quantity, mass is a scalar quantity, and the product of scalar and vector quantity is a vector quantity. So momentum is also a vector quantity. And the direction of momentum is the direction of the velocity of the object. So what is momentum? Linear momentum is a product of mass of an object and its velocity. Velocity is a vector quantity, mass is a scalar quantity. Hence, momentum is also a vector quantity, and the direction of momentum is always the direction of the velocity of the object. As far as SI unit is concerned, the SI unit of mass is kilogram, velocity is meter per second. So, the unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second. Kilogram meter per second is the SI unit of momentum. Now, let us have an example. For example, an object is moving with an initial velocity u, and after some time its velocity changes to v, that is its final velocity. So that is v, because the mass remains constant. So mass of the object is m. So if I talk about initial momentum of the object, I just write P1 is equal to mu. I have taken u because I am calculating P1, that is initial momentum. So initial momentum, mass, and the initial velocity of the object. Similarly, final momentum will be P2. I just named it P2, that is final momentum, and it will be mv. So P1, that is initial momentum, is mu, and P2 is the final momentum, that is mv. So P1 initial momentum, P2 final momentum, and if we have to check how much momentum is changed, that is change in momentum, that is delta P is equal to P2 minus P1, that is mv minus mu that is mv minus u. So if we find that the velocity of the object is changing, we can also calculate change in its momentum by calculating initial momentum and final momentum, and hence we can calculate the change in momentum. Now second law of motion. Second law of motion, as I have written already on the board, you can see the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force. The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force in the direction of force. So whatever the rate of change of momentum will be there, it is always in the direction of force applied. Now with this, we can reach to a mathematical formula. Look at the statement, whatever I have written, the rate of change of momentum. Recently we have written change in momentum. So change in momentum, that is delta V. Rate of change of momentum, so rate means with respect to time. So with respect to time means upon t, and directly proportional to. So this term, that is delta p upon t, is directly proportional to the applied force, that is F. So if I have to write the second law of motion in a mathematical form, I can write F proportional delta P by T. And how to write it down, how to make the statement? Rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force. So this is second law of motion, which relates force and momentum together. Now with this we can reach to an application also. The application of second law of motion, where we have just seen that P1, that is the initial momentum of an object. Let an object of mass m is moving on a straight path with the initial velocity u. So mass and velocity, its product is initial momentum. So P1 is mu. After some time, after applying force, its velocity changes to v. So its final momentum will be P2, that is mv. Now change in momentum, delta p, that is P2 minus P1, that becomes mv minus mu. Now according to the second law of motion, because F proportional delta p by t, I can write F proportional P2 minus P1 upon t. P2 minus P1, that is equivalent to delta p. F proportional mv minus mu upon t. F proportional mv minus mu upon t, or it can be written as F proportional m, and can be taken common, v minus u upon t. And we know that v minus u upon t is acceleration, so I can write F proportional ma. F proportional ma, we have reached to this conclusion. Now F is equal to kma. I have taken k as a constant of proportionality, and if the value of k is 1, we can write F is equal to m. So F is equal to ma is an application of second law of motion that we can derive in this format. So the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force in the direction of force. It can be written as F proportional delta p by t, and its application, one of the application is F proportional ma. Now I just want to relate it with some daily phenomena. Now we have seen and we have played several times with a ball. Especially when someone is throwing a ball towards you, generally you pull your hands backward. You generally pull your hand backward. Why do you pull your hands backward? You pull your hand backwards because you want to increase the time. So by increasing the time, when you increase the time, the rate of change of momentum decreases. By increasing the time, by increasing this denominator, if I go through the mathematics, if you increase the denominator, the whole terms, the whole fraction becomes less. So by increasing the time, you decrease the rate of change of momentum. This whole fraction is rate of change of momentum. So while catching a fast moving ball, a player or fielder generally pulls his hand backward to increase the time in contact between palm, this palm and ball, to increase the time and to reduce the rate of change of momentum. And we know that rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force. Hence, because the rate of change of momentum is less, the force applied by the fast moving ball on his palm will be less and the fielder will not be hit as much.